Trust matters. It's the invisible, ineffable glue that holds relationships together and helps organizations, workers, and communities thrive. At its core, trust means being willing to rely on others for mutual benefit. And when trust is present, the results speak for themselves. Think about this. In high trust work cultures, companies outperform competitors by up to 4 times in market value. But it's not just about numbers on a balance sheet. In fact, in workplace where trust is high, people kind of behave differently. Employees are 180% more likely to feel motivated, 140% more likely to take on extra responsibilities, and 50% less likely to leave. In other words, trust doesn't just create a stronger workforce, it creates a healthier one. As traditional boundaries in the work continue to blur, trust is becoming the very force that keeps organizations cohesive and mission aligned. In fact, it's becoming an even better measure of the worker-organization relationship than simple employee engagement. Hi, I'm Sanjeevani from Vantage Circle, and today we are going to see real-world examples that show how trust isn't just a nice-to-have thing. It's a strategic advantage that drives success and what happens when it's not present in your organization. The first case study is actually quite interesting. Let's start with legendary Berkshire Hathaway. To me, it's one of the clearest examples of how trust can scale across an organization. Warren Buffett, as we all know, built his empire on a simple principle: hire great people, then get out of their way. Instead of micromanaging, he focused on finding competent, trustworthy leaders and gave them the freedom to run their businesses. Buffett believed that once you hire the right people, trust is more effective than control. This idea was backed by a study from the University of Zurich, which found that too many controls and monitors actually create an environment where people act in their own self-interest. Now, Berkshire's success showed that a culture based on trust, not on constant oversight, leads to greater efficiency and better decision making. The next example that I have is of Netflix. Netflix's radical trust and accountability culture. Netflix is another great example of a company that thrives on a high trust. Instead of relying on rules and processes, Netflix built its culture around the idea of freedom and responsibility. You know what? They trust their employees to make decisions that are in the company's best interest. For example, there's no formal expense policy. Employees are simply told to act in Netflix's best interests. This freedom is only possible because it is highly selective about who they hire. They focus on having the talent density, only keeping top performers. And the result? Employees are empowered to make quick, informed decisions and are held accountable for the results. And interestingly, there's one more key to Netflix success: radical candor. It's a practice where employees are encouraged to give and receive direct, honest feedback at all levels. Now, this constant feedback loop kind of keeps everyone aligned and ensures continuous improvement. In a high trust culture like this, accountability and empowerment go hand in hand, fueling both innovation and performance. Now, let me mention you the downside: the cost of low trust. Now, that's the mouse jiggler phenomenon. But what happens when trust is missing from your work culture? You have probably seen it or maybe even lived it. During the shift to remote work, many companies rolled out electronic performance monitoring, EPM, or famously known as the bossware, to track mouse clicks and keystrokes. Now, that kind of constant surveillance sends one loud message: you know what? We don't trust you. And when your employees feel watched and monitored all the time, they often find ways to beat the system, giving rise to phenomena called the mouse jiggler, which is a tool to kind of simulate activity and make it appear as though they are working when they're actually not. Now, this one creates a cycle of waste. You may spend energy monitoring while your employees waste energy faking. This is the exact opposite of productivity. Instead of driving results, it kind of drives people away from meaningful work and eventually away from your organization. So, at the end, every leader and every organization has a choice. Lean or control, or invest in trust. So, think about your own workplace. Are you building systems that empower people or ones that make them look for shortcuts? Because the data is very clear, as I have mentioned. Trust fuels motivation, loyalty, while control often breeds resistance and disengagement. The choice is absolutely yours. Let us know in the comment section below, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.